When you talking to me, you talking about a nigga that'll fuck your whole world up. You and your boys make a scene, I'm thinking AC Green, cause it's gonna be at least 4 or 5 you niggas in the room curled up.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
You ain't nothing but a MC.
Welcome to another edition of The Buck Stops Here. I am your host, Hound Dog Buck 50, one of the illest, if not the illest battle rapper in the game. But like I always say, this is not about me. On this edition, we're going to do a special episode called One Time. This is when we pay homage to a particular battle rapper or MC or singer, and we just focus it on them and we give them their flowers. In this episode of One Time, we're going to talk about the GOAT. Yes, the man who created the acronym, James Todd Smith. LL Cool J. Let's talk about it. I am your host, Hound Dog Buck 50. And here on the latest edition of One Time, we're going to talk about the GOAT, LL Cool J. Let's talk about it. Now, LL has had a career that spanned over 36 years. He came out, I believe, in 84 with I Need a Beat. His first album was Radio. He set the world on fire. He followed up with Bigger and Deffer. That really jumped out on the ledge into a romantic ballad, which was unheard of at that time, and it just took him to megastar status. And after that, there were many more albums. You had Walking with a Panther. You had 14 Shots to the Dome. Mr. Smith, Mama Said Knock You Out. The list goes on. But what I want to talk about is the foundation that LL laid and the people that he birthed and what makes him who he is. I feel like in hip hop, it's a family tree, and it extends and it keeps growing. But sometimes when the tree gets to a certain point, people feel like this is where the tree started, but a lot of guys who are wearing jewelry now are doing it big, popping bottles. They think they're doing something different. But if I show you footage from like 30 years ago, you will see footage of L doing that. Wet rocking the custom outfits, the big Cool J ring, the chains, the floss, all of that, the imagery, all of that. L was, as Dolomite once said, I was through with it before you knew what to do with it. L Ben did it already. And you gotta think, L was from a time when your rappers weren't easily accessible to see on TV. Now it's easy to have access to your rappers. You can see them on Instagram. You can make a comment. They comment back sometimes. But in that era, you didn't see your favorite rapper a lot. So seeing somebody like LL or Soul Train was crazy. Seeing him on American Bandstand, crazy. Because this wasn't stuff, because at that time, for the people who remember, if you don't remember in school, because everybody's got a generation gap. Everybody's not my age. So that's cool. But if you respect it, you want to rock out with it, rock out. And just, take notes. Learn a quick lesson. L did a lot, like I said before, that was like groundbreaking. Soul Train at the time was a show where it wasn't really, as years went on, having rappers became more common. But at the time when L went on there, he wasn't the first, but it wasn't a common thing yet for Soul Train. So when you saw a rapper on there, especially somebody that you really rocked with, you got excited. I still remember one of the early episodes of Yo MTV Raps. He rode around with Fab Five in a white drop top Benz. You don't forget stuff like that. And the Unplugged performance, monumental. And Al also he showed resilience. There was a couple times when the fans looked like they turned on him, but he came back. And it's not too often that somebody comes back twice. He got rode off a couple times, and he came back. And I feel like stylistically, L doesn't really get the credit he deserves. And I think one of the reasons he does it is because he's so versatile, almost versatile to a fault. L did stuff stylistically that I don't think a lot of people was ready for. Songs like I'm That Type of Guy, going back to Cali, they did well, but he did some things lyrically as far as the cadence, and it was kind of weird. At least it seemed weird at the time. And I know I wasn't the only one that thought that, but because you was a fan, you just rolled with it anyway. But years later, I realized I got it. It was called being versatile. And years later, some of the things that L was doing, they created a label for it, Club Record. The dance record. L was doing all these things before it had an official name for it. And because he's so versatile, a lot of times people forget how great of an MC he was. But for those that are true fans of the art form, he got busy, and he was as good as they come. Songs like It Gets No Rougher, No Airplay, Hollis to Hollywood, Eat 'Em Up L, Bubba Said Knock You Out, just to name a few. These is all just a few of the songs where he took it into a lyrical gear that was unmatched. And then like any other great star, he took it to another level. Started doing movies, had a sitcom that was successful. Now he's doing the NCIS. And even now, he's still known. It was a reinventing, if you will, but he's still relevant to this day. And it's to the point now where LL Cool J is beyond making hits. When people say stuff like, well, so-and-so's not relevant, you can't say that about L. You can't say Stevie Wonder's not relevant or Quincy Jones is not relevant. Because once you've established so much in your career, you're beyond making hits now. Stevie Wonder is beyond the next hit. Quincy Jones is beyond the next hit. LL is the marker for everybody else to strive for. LL's beyond having hits now. He's GOAT status. And it's a shame that when we talk about rap, hip-hop GOATs, his name just gets scarfed over. But I say, LL, you the GOAT to me. Hands down. The style, the fashion, the influence, the lyrics. L did it. L did it, and he did it well. He did it to perfection. He knew how to rap about the ladies. He knew how to put that touch on it. And he was that dude. And you got to give the man his props. Some people just don't people who may have been born a little younger, they don't really understand the full gist of who LL is and what he's about. But me, as a fan, I caught the whole spectrum, and I have to say that he's a legend. He's definitely the GOAT to me. You know, and Mr. Smith, if I had to say my favorite album, I would have to say it's Mr. Smith. I thought about that the other day. I was like, it's between Mr. Smith and Mama Said Knock You Out. But the more I think about it, it's Mr. Smith, because I rock Mr. Smith a little harder. You know, no airplay. Yeah. Both shenanigans, country ass mannequins, motherfuckers is frontin', and I bet you they don't slam again. Yeah, what, nigga? I said it. Yeah, that's L right there. LL, you the man. You are definitely the GOAT. And on that note, peace, love, and whatever else you think of love.